Hey, this is Kevin Coy, and my wife Anissa and I have started this new podcast called My Life, My Rules. And in this, we're going to talk about a variety of things, but it really has to do with living your life your way, whatever way that is. But we have been doing that ourselves for a number of years, and this is a um, evolution of how we started and where we're at now. And we thought, this has been a conversation that we've been having for a number of years about how, could we share this with other people and with the idea of inspiring you to be able to have a way of living your life the way you want to live it, not maybe the way it's being lived right now, and so we're living life on purpose and having a direction and a way of being that makes us live our life the way we want to live it.
And I think that it's really important to point out for anyone who's listening to this very first episode that the conversations that we're going to have here are going to be not always easy conversations. They're going to be maybe a little tough to have. They might be difficult to have with yourself. But we're talking about all of the things that most people don't talk about. It gets, uncomfortable. So a lot of times we think stuff in our head and we're like, oh, that'd be great, or I would just love it if, but we don't ever voice those things. We don't talk about them. And something that you and I have learned to do is we've learned to have some of those really tough conversations with each other and with ourselves. And it's literally transformed our life, not just in our personal love relationship, but in the relationship with our children and our financial life and our health and all of that. And so I think that it's important to mention that as well, that we will be having those kind of conversations.
Mhm.
But again, first and foremost, Kevin, why did anybody that's watching right now, tell them what is My Life, My Rules about, and why should they be listening to the podcast?
So basically, who the heck are we and why should he listen to us?
Pretty much.
Well, so this is really about freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of time, financial freedom, health freedom, freedom to live your life the way you would like to live it without restrictions, without what? Without limitations.
Limitations. Yeah.
And so this is a so we went through this process and we will be, we're going to be telling some pretty crazy life stories. We've got some pretty unique life backgrounds that we can share over the course of the conversations what we're having, and we'll bring them out as they're appropriate to the subject matter that we're discussing from one
Mhm.
conversation to the next. But just understand that we were not born with silver spoons by any stretch of the imagination, far from it. And so, but we've gotten ourselves in a position through a lot of conversations and processes that we've gone through to really think about how we wanted to live. We didn't start out living our life the way we wanted to by any stretch, but we've gotten there, and so we
Mhm.
thought it was really important for us to be able to give back some of this to other people. That if we can help you find your way to your perfect life or your life
Mhm.
that you want to live,
Right.
um, that would be worth us, putting ourselves out there and
Well, and Kevin
telling
is
telling you how we did it.
right, right. Because nobody's an island, right? We didn't do this on our own. We didn't
No,
just miraculously wake up one day and figure this stuff out. We had people help
right?
us. We had people who gave a shit
Mm.
about
Mm.
us, two people they did not know,
Yeah,
and wanted us to experience our perfect
more,
life. Right. So
right?
there's more in life and just, realize that we can have anything, be and do anything that we want. Like when people say that, I think you just take it like the average Joe will just be like, oh, well, that sounds so cliche and cool. Like that's great for some,
Right.
but it's true. Like you literally can live and be and do any. Look, by the time that we get in a few episodes, Kevin and I are going to share our childhood. We're going to share where we came from. When you guys hear this the story of some of the stuff that we have overcome. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling. Like we've been talking about this for the past few months and in kind of developing the podcast and how we wanted to go about having these conversations with you guys. And we almost were like, I don't know that people are going to believe us. Like, I'm not sure they're going to believe
Right.
like that this shit really happened and went down this way because I mean, like,
Well,
so today on the beach, honey, today on the beach, we were just talking about on our morning walk how many times we've literally been kicked to the ground, like punched, knocked to the ground. I mean, how many times were we down to like $6, $100, $10, two kids, no money for diaper, like unreal. Like how many times, and yet we just kept freaking getting back up, getting back up. And one day, someone just believed in us, believed in
mm,
our dreams being able to come true when we didn't even understand what the hell that meant.
right.
And if we can pay that forward, it to just even one person and be
Mm,
able to help others see the not easy but very simple steps we had to take, right? It's not not easy but simple to be able to get yourself into the area or into where you can then even know what the hell you even want in your life. What does your perfect life look like? And then how do you
right.
start living it? Because we literally live our perfect life every day. Life's not perfect. We have things happen, but we live our perfect life, right? And so
Well,
we
so
want to share that.
we live our life on purpose
Yes.
with it, with intention and
Yeah.
with a
Right.
focus on where we want to be and where we're going. And
Right.
so this is some of the stuff that we've learned to develop in our, processes on how to get ourselves there. And so we just
And,
want to share those. So, I mean, I guess the best thing I could say right now is stick around and hopefully we'll intrigue you enough and maybe we'll resonate with you enough with some of the things that we're going to be starting to share even in this particular episode, the inaugural episode, if you will. And so that way you'll say, hey, this might benefit me, maybe I'll come back and take another look.
well, and I think it's important to point out, honey, that some of the things that we want to be able to do and share with you all is not only the steps that we took, the exercises that we learned to walk us through those steps. We're going to talk about
Right.
who gave us those exercises because we didn't create any of this. Like we didn't like
Right.
we'll go reinvent the wheel, right? Um, and then there's I mean a ton of books, you guys. Oh my gosh. I think the first 2 years that in our transformation started, I mean, we were just devouring books, like two or three a month. Like it was insane. So many great books and podcasts and people that changed our life, that instilled, passion in us, helped
Yeah,
us to,
inspired us.
yes, yeah, right. And
Also gave us a sense of direction and maybe even just some
yeah,
ability to have more self-reflection
right,
as to where we were
right,
at and taking responsibility for ourselves, our actions, our
mhm,
our
yeah,
situation, where we're at
right,
right now, where we want to go.
right.
So what topics are we going to be covering in these ongoing conversations?
Pretty much, to be honest, nothing's going to be off topic. We're going to talk about all of it. And that's what I mean by like, this is definitely not a podcast for anybody with super sensitivities to things and or you get your feelings hurt easy or you want just some vanilla, hey, this is what you do to feel good. Probably not going to be the right podcast for you. We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about wealth, financial freedom. We're going to talk about time freedom. We're going to talk about love and marriage and maybe even a little bit of sex life in there at some point. We're going to talk about kids and raising kids and being there for them but not enabling them. We're going to talk about all things like addictions. We're going to talk about abuse. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff that just so many times people don't want to talk about these things because they're tough. They're not easy. And by the way, this is not necessarily easy for Kevin and I to share all of these things that we're going to share with you, but we're doing it because we're very driven and we're very passionate about helping others stop the pain that we were
Hmm.
going through so many years unnecessarily, that had somebody told us 10 or 15 years prior, had we been exposed to these things, we could have ended our pain a lot sooner. And now it's almost like kind of painful when we're, you know, just living life so much on our terms and the way we want to, that when we see people in so much pain and so miserable, it and they're in control. They could stop it at any time. They just don't know it. And
Hmm.
so that's why we're doing this. That's why we're passionate about starting the podcast, sharing with you all. And again, we're going to talk about business. Kevin and I have been, by the way, who is Kevin and Anissa Coy? I mean, you might be going, who the heck are these two gray-haired, the big beard guy weirdos? Well, okay, so I'm going to introduce myself real quick, and Kevin, you say who you are. My name's Anissa Coy. I was born and raised in Washington State, Little Apple Orchard there, and I am a country girl at heart, and did not come from any kind of privilege by any shape or form. In fact, grew up pretty poor, and we'll tell stories for sure, and let you guys know a bit about our childhood. But they used to call us fruit tramps. We actually traveled around in trailers that picked fruit for a living, which is very weird to even say today. I think now they call them gypsies, is what they refer to them. But back in the day, we were called fruit tramps, and just really came from a lot of poverty. And now I've been married. Kevin and I met when we were teenagers, fell in love, been married this September, 40 years. And we have 4 kids. We have 4 amazing kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. We have 10 incredible grandchildren, from 17 years to brand new, brand new. I think we have our 6-month old, our little one. And we are now literally, I literally I live my perfect life every day. And I could not want any better or any more really, for myself and my family. And I feel so free, especially my time freedom is it's all mine and I get to dictate that, and own several businesses, and financially have complete freedom, like to live and be and work if I want, when I want, and where I want. So that's me, Kevin.
Well, Kevin Coy, the other half of the duo here, and I was born in Sacramento, raised everywhere. Went to 14 schools before I graduated. Used to be able to remember them all, couldn't tell you at this point. Um, Grew up partly in Southern California, partly in the Midwest. Came from a interesting family and background. We'll elaborate on this as we go along in other conversations, but uh, my family kind of fell apart. Well, about halfway through my growing up years, my father was in prison, and I had my sister and I had to help my mom from early on, help to pay the rent because she couldn't do it on her own. So we were going to school and working, and so again, didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth, kind of had a wooden one on my butt, and so started with not much, maybe less than nothing, and worked my way up to where we live today. And the funny thing is Anissa's sitting in the air conditioning right now, and I'm sitting outside in about 93-degree weather, and we should be the other way around because she likes it more than I do. Uh, yeah, this is Sunday, March 2nd of
Yeah,
2025.
yeah, yeah.
And so anyway, we certainly didn't have any advantages getting started. In fact, I would say we were probably pretty disadvantaged. Maybe didn't even know how disadvantaged we were when we got started, but we started very young in life together. We kind of grew up together because we were teenagers when we met. And again, father of 4, grandfather of 10. And, I live my life my way. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but I'll just tell you, I'll give you one, for instance. I know I'm being successful because I don't wake up to an alarm and haven't woken up to an alarm for a very long time.
Mhm.
And when I get up in the morning, I decide, what do I want to do? What do I want to wear? So there's a couple of things about me.
Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to share with you guys because sometimes we almost feel like, we got to like pinch ourselves and be like, is this really the amazing life that we get to live? And but none of it was on accident. Nobody handed us anything. As I said, we've been kicked down so many times. Wait till we share some of them with you. You're going to be like, why'd you guys keep getting up? Like, why didn't you just say, screw it, I'm done. I'm not doing this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes we did. We had to pick each other up and be like, hey, no, we're not giving up. We can do this.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a we planned all this. We did. We
It's
orchestrated
by
by
design, yes.
by design. Yes. And so what we want to be able to do is look, if you're thinking right now, hey, you guys, that's great. I got the same thing in my life. Awesome. This, unless you just want to hear some of our funny stories or want to, you like reality TV, you might still hang out with us on the podcast then. But
Mm.
what I'm guessing, because we see it with a lot of people, is that they're not living their perfect life. And it could be, what, maybe you're financially great. You have financial freedom, but maybe your love life is not good, or your marriage, or maybe your health isn't, or maybe your health's good, and your marriage is good, but your
Or
financial life's
you don't have the time. A lot of
right,
people have a lot of people have either
right,
time or money,
right,
but not very
not
often do
both.
they have both.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
we have both, and we wanted to share how we created that process.
yes,
And it's so we want to get to this is not, we didn't win any lottery tickets. We didn't win, we didn't, nobody handed us, we didn't find a big sack of money on the side of the road.
right.
Um, and we didn't stumble into this life either. I mean, in fact, we
No,
stumbled a lot before we found our way to this life for sure, and fell on our face plenty of times. And I guess maybe we were, I don't know, I won't speak for Anissa, but either I was too stubborn or too stupid or too, unaware that I just kept getting back up and persevered through a lot of obstacles and had to learn. I kind of went to the school of hard knocks for a long time, charter member of that, and but yet we did finally get some guidance, and it was very profound for us to actually start thinking about planning our life. And so I'm going to introduce this premise, and that is that when we were kids, and I say we, all of us, we probably had some kind of a dream about what we wanted to be when we grew up. And back in those days, we didn't have the inhibitions. We didn't have fear. We didn't know that we couldn't do anything. We just had, influences and things that maybe attracted us to things that we thought would be great. So maybe, some for instances would be, a lot of kids may have thought, well, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. Because back in my day, I'm dating myself a little bit here. Um, I remember when the first guy got out on the moon, and so that was a big deal. And so my generation, a lot of kids decided they wanted to be astronauts because they saw that and that looked pretty cool. Um, Other people might have thought, "Hey, I want to be, an NFL ball player, or I want to be a doctor, or whatever it was for you. Something attracted you or inspired you as a child or as a young person to say that when I grow up, that's what I want to be." When I was a kid, and I remember this pretty distinctly as a kindergartner, um, that I wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up. That was what I thought because I just liked animals, and I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool to be a doctor to help animals? And just thought, for years and years and years, that was the thing. And anybody asked me, what are you gonna do when you grow up? I was gonna be a veterinarian, and I had that system, and I don't remember exactly when I lost that, but I will say this: somewhere along the way, a lot of us we lose that aspiration. We lose that dream of what we wanted to be when we became adults. Probably because we got told you can't be one, or maybe get laughed at by somebody because we said that out loud, and then all of a sudden we became very self conscious of that. Maybe we got got a lot of negative feedback from people in our lives or around us that said, "Oh, you'll never be one of those," or "You can't do that," or whatever the case may be. Or maybe just life just started happening and you never really planned the process of how you were going to become whatever that was that you wanted to be when you were younger. And so it got sidelined and maybe then it got back burnered. And then pretty soon we turned the heat off on that thing and it went cold. And so life just started going. And maybe you got married, maybe you got kids, maybe things just got complicated and you just got busy and you had bills to pay and you had to get to your job and you had to take care of things and all these responsibilities and life just sort of took off on you and you were just trying to keep from getting run over by it and that dream just sort of faded away. Well, that's kind of what happened to us. But then one day, and I'll let Anissa take this over, but she was in her 30s when somebody asked her a very earth-shattering question that really kind of just knocked her flat on her butt, and so I'm going to let her take over from there.
You know, when you were just talking about that, Kevin, it was really like I was thinking about when I was a kid, and I told you we were talking about this. I want to be a brain surgeon. That was my thing. When I was 9 years old, I decided I wanted to be a brain surgeon because I wanted to help people. And this little girl had something wrong with her tumor or something that was inoperable, but this doctor, brain surgeon, came in and just removed it. And I remember seeing that report on the news, and it was such an incredible, these people were just like, oh my gosh, you're like, an angel and you're a savior and just all this great stuff. And so I wanted to end people's pain. And that's the last I remember thinking about anything I wanted to do. And then the next thing I know, I'm, 17 years old, pregnant, and life just I moved out, living on my own at 15. I mean, we'll talk about those things later, but on my own at 15, pregnant at 17. I mean, you talk about life happening to me. I didn't have any damn time to stop and think about anything, let alone something as crazy as what did I even want in life? I never asked myself past that 9 year old little girl what I wanted. And so one day I was working for this guy and he wanted me to go to this marketing seminar with him. And this is 2005, October, never forget, October 18th, 2005. And I am sitting in the front row of this marketing seminar, and this guy he was wearing a pair of blue jeans that were like the whitewashed on the front. I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. This is burned in my memory. Black shoes, and he was wearing a medium blue shirt that had white pinstripes, and it was buttoned here and buttoned all the way up to here, but no, the top button was open and no tie. I'll never forget. His name was Joe Polish, and
And he
he's
had his
doing
shirt
the
untucked.
and his shirt untucked. Yes, just very very casual, right? And I'm sitting in the front row right next to my boss, my then boss, and he's doing these exercises with everybody where you're setting goals and you're doing all this, right? And he pulls out this exercise and he calls it the 3 year I think he called it the 3 year vision quest. I call this my perfect life. But he says, I want you to take this piece of paper out. And I never, you guys, like understand I've never been to any kind of self-help. I didn't even know who the hell Tony Robbins was, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, nothing. I had no idea about any of this stuff. So I've never heard of anyone doing something like this. So we're pulling it out and I'm just like, okay. And he goes and he asked everybody in the audience, and there was probably, I don't know, 700 people in the audience at this time. And he says, so I want you guys to think about 3 years from today, if you had your life exactly as you want it, what would it look like 3 years from today? And I
Wait a
remember when
minute. He said no restrictions and no
yeah,
limitations.
hold on. I'll get there. Hold on. So he says, you can have anything you want. You can be doing anything you want. Like he says all of this, right? And I remember looking up, and everybody was like frantically starting to write. And I remember looking up from this worksheet in front of me and the pen in my hand. And I looked at this guy on the stage and I thought, what the hell is he talking about? It was, it like almost kind of took my breath away. It was such a, right? And he's just walking around going,
Far-fetched.
yeah, yeah. And he's walking around going, listen, you know, you can have anything you want. You can, whether it's a mansion or a business that runs itself for you. And most of the people in this room, by the way, were business owners. And he's just walking, and I'm looking, everybody's looking down at their sheets of papers, frantically writing. And I'm over here going, oh my God, like I felt like the number one stupidest person in the room. And I didn't know what to write. I had no idea. I was 38 years old and nobody had ever asked me that in my life. And all of a sudden he walks over to the corner of the stage where I was, and I was in the very front row and facing the stage. I was on the right-hand side. And he walks right over to that corner. And I kid you not, he looked right down at me and he said, what does your perfect life look like? No limitations, no restrictions, none. What does it look like? Even to this day, when I say that, I get emotional. And I just remember, I mean, my eyes just filled up immediately with tears. And I just looked down because you guys, I'm sitting next to my boss. Like I'm in a, marketing seminar and I'm literally sobbing. Like the tears are just rolling down my cheeks. And I had my head down looking at the sheet, and just the paper's getting wet. And I just thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to write down the craziest shit ever. You're asking me this stuff. And it was almost like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong that this shit can't happen because I'm going to write down the craziest stuff you've ever. So I wrote down that I wanted to own my own $1 million company. I wanted to go on a tropical island vacation, had never been. And I wanted to see my husband every day. At the time that I wrote that, I want you to understand, I made $40,000 a year as an employee. 40,000. Okay. So when I said, oh, my own $1 million company, I thought that was the craziest stuff ever. Right. When I said I wanted to go on a tropical island vacation, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. We were raising 4 children. At the time we had teenagers. Like we could barely put school clothes on them. Like we didn't have a lot of money. So we never went on vacation and did anything. And I'd always dreamed of that. And then to see my husband every day, we were trying to get ahead financially. So Kevin and I worked opposite each other so that someone was always with the kids. I always felt like a single parent because I had the kids. I worked during the day while they were at school. So I had them at night. I was always by myself. Kevin felt like he was just a paycheck and, come home every night. He would be home during the day when we're all at work and stuff and in school and be alone. And Joe asked me, first time I was 38 years old, and this man who did not know me cared enough to ask me, what did my perfect life look like with no limitations and no restrictions? And you know what? I wrote down that crazy stuff, you guys. And literally, from the day I wrote that stuff down that I thought would never happen in my lifetime, it all came true within 17 months of me putting that pen to paper. And I don't know if any of you watching this have ever really stopped and thought about what you wanted in life. I mean, since then, let me tell you, I've redone that, my perfect life, right? Like it's way bigger than what that original was. But have you ever been asked that, let alone ask yourself that? And are you truly right now living your perfect life? That moment set things into motion that I had no idea the power of. No idea.
And so that was a 3-year vision quest, but you accomplished it in less than half
17
the
months.
time.
17 months.
So right now people might be clicking off of this right now. They might be going, this is
Maybe.
a bunch of woo woo.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I don't believe any of this crap. You can't
Yeah.
just write stuff down and make it come true. Well, we're here to tell you that's not the case. And
Right.
so if you really want to find out how that actually went down, you'll have to stick around.
Yes.
But I will tell you that when my wife came home from this seminar event, whatever you want to call it, and started blathering about this, I thought she lost her freaking mind. And I thought, what the hell did you go to? You said you went to some marketing thing. What is going on with you? I thought she was just, I thought, man, what the heck kind of crap are they putting out down there? It was out of state. And I'm just like going, I was dumbfounded. But she shared it, and it started out as like, this is out there, this is woo woo, this is, whatever. But guess what? It happened.
Yeah.
And guess what? We've had way bigger things than that happen since that we dared to dream. And I guess that's really
Mhm.
the crux of this conversation today was to, we were trying to find how do we start this process? How do we start this channel and at least, hopefully intrigue some people, inspire some people.
Mhm.
And so we're sharing that's just a glimpse into our
Yeah.
life right now of, where we came from and where we are, because we're well beyond where this was. And what was that year again?
That was in
2007,
2000,
six,
October
five,
2005,
five, five, right? So
20 years.
20 years ago. So that started a very crazy journey that put us to where we're at today, which again, we're still evolving. We haven't peaked yet. So just if anybody's curious, um, I've gone through similar uh, processes, and we intend. So here's the thing: we're asking you this today because this is something somebody was generous enough to ask us 20 years ago. What's your perfect life look like? Do you dare to dream and put yourself out there and ask yourself this question? Maybe you have no idea, like Anissa. Maybe you were just like, I don't even know what that looks like. I know I've never even really thought about that. And that's fine. That's where you're at. But what I want you to do is ask yourself, if you didn't have any restrictions on yourself, if you had no limitations on what it is, what does that look like for you? What would you dare to think that you could have as a perfect life for yourself? And
And,
maybe you need to take some time and really think about that. And maybe here's what's going to happen. Maybe you're going to be fighting with yourself over
mhm,
even putting that to paper or even thinking it, let
mhm,
alone saying it out loud, because you might think, I don't, maybe you're afraid to dream about what that possibility looks like. Again, maybe you have gotten yourself so far out from where we were as kids dreaming about what we wanted to be when we grew up
mhm.
that that just doesn't even enter that's just too much for you. You might have got up and walked away from this video already. I don't know. But what we're hoping is that you're willing to, maybe set aside some of these things that are welling up in your mind right now, going, this is bullshit. Like, no, I can't do this. This is, no, this won't work for me. You guys or whatever. Maybe you think we got some special, powers that nobody else has. But I'm telling you, when you find out about our backstories, which you just got a little glimpse into, um, that's the most ridiculous thing we thought we had ever heard too, but we played along. So that's what we're asking you to do. Play along. Just just trust us for a minute. You don't have to trust us. Who the heck are we? But we're here to tell you that we've got some pretty exciting, pretty,
Mhm.
crazy things that we want to share with you that wound up happening to us because we played along, because we didn't get up and walk away. We didn't shut the computer off. We said, okay, challenge accepted. So that's what we're asking you to do. What
And
what
I,
would
and
your
I,
life look like in 3 years from where you're at right now if you didn't have any restrictions or limitations? You didn't have anybody telling you you can't do that, you can't be that, you're crazy for thinking like that. Set that aside and just be that kid again and say, this is what I wanted, this is what my life to look like.
yeah, I just, it also doesn't matter right now if you do believe this because chances are you don't. I didn't. I didn't
Oh,
believe it
and
for a,
hey,
I didn't
we
believe it for a very, very, very long time. And,
we
um,
yeah, I didn't either. In fact, I said I thought she lost her mind, and so,
mhm.
but we were, I guess, crazy enough to go ahead and put pen to paper on it anyway
Well,
and play along.
I think that, and what I was going to say, and I think that what was so instrumental in the transformation and us going down this journey, because Kevin, you were way more skeptical than I was. You legit kind of battled it for a while, and
Hmm.
and that scared me because I got really scared because I thought, oh my God, at that point we've been married 20 years, and I'm like, oh my God, what if he doesn't want to, like, I'm excited and I'm feeling like this, I know this is a thing, and I'm starting to really want to take this chance. And if you didn't want to, what was that going to do to you and me? And it was very scary for me. But, you
Right.
know, we found somebody in Joe, and I always said this to him, that Joe he believed in us. He believed in me before I knew how to believe in myself. And what he did was he believed in us until we could learn and he could teach us to believe in ourselves. And so if
Yep.
we can do that for you, then that's why we're doing this podcast. Because listen, I'm telling you, Kevin and I are ordinary people. We have no college degrees. We did not come from privilege. There is no logical reason for us to be sitting in front of you telling you that we are living our perfect life. And we're going to share with you what that perfect life is. And when we share with you, you're going to be like, wow, that's pretty freaking awesome. And it's
We
not
dared.
logical. It's not logical, and it doesn't make sense. And there's no special reason why we should be sitting here. But what we learned to do was to believe. We learned and we dared to dream again, and we learned to believe that we could accomplish anything that we want. And so we want to do that for you. If
Hmm.
you are not where you want to be, you're not living your absolute perfect life every day, then we want to be that for you. We want to believe in you until we can help you learn how to believe in yourself. And I really want to say, I know Kevin already said this, and you might be ready to click off this now and be like, okay, this is just a bunch of woo woo and like silly stuff, and I'm not going to go here. Listen, there are clear, defined steps to take, very clear. Okay. And we're going to share all of them with you that we went through. And we went through a lot. Kevin and
Hmm.
I have invested a ton of money and time and energy into learning these steps. And we still do them today, still do this stuff today. That's why we're where we're at and why we continue to grow and evolve. And we want to share it with you. It's, again, not rocket science. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, as Kevin was saying earlier today.
Rocket
Um,
surgery.
Sorry, yeah, it's not rocket surgery. Um, it's not easy, but it's simple. So if you're willing to give us some of your time, I think that you will see that you won't be disappointed. That you will learn how to remember how you wanted those great things that you wanted in life, or maybe those dreams that you had, or maybe as you were me, I never had any dreams, but I learned some real fast, and we want to
Well,
walk you through those steps.
I'll share a little anecdote again, a little peek into the past here. When I was in high school, we were so disadvantaged, poor, whatever you want to call it. We didn't have a car, my family, and I lived in a motel room with I mean, it was a like a one bedroom motel that we had to pay by the week. And I was so embarrassed about my life that I just, when I went to school, I just did everything I could to not stick out. I didn't want anybody noticing me. And so the contrast is this, and that is that I remember being absolutely terrified to give a book report in front of a class in high school. I would do anything. I'd cut my arm off to get away from that. I literally wouldn't even come to school. I just that I'd have just taken the F before I had to stand in front of a group of people, kids, and share a book report on something. And now we speak internationally from a stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people with
If
ease.
not thousands.
Yeah. And so, interesting going from that one end of that extreme to the other. And if you'd have told me even 20 years ago that I would have done that, I'd have thought you were nuts. There's no
Well,
way you're going to get me in front of people on a stage for any kind of money.
look,
No way was I going to do that.
honey, I have one of the biggest podcasts, Ask Anissa video column in the industry, in one of the industries that we're in. And
Right.
like literally, I've known all over the world. And
Hmm.
the first time that I was going to get up and go do a speech when I was 30, Was I still 38? 38 or 39? I think I was 39. I literally 2 seconds before they called our name to go up there, told you I can't do it. I thought I was going to puke.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, I can't do this. You have to do it. And you're like, I can't do it. You're the one that practiced the speech. And I was like freaking the hell out, thinking I was either going to pass out or I was going to puke. And now I'm like, I would just jump up on stage last minute and pull it out of
Right.
the hat, no big deal.
Give me
So
a microphone.
yeah, and I would literally have never, I would have told you you're crazy.
Right.
Absolutely. For sure. But
So
mhm,
maybe we've intrigued people enough, and
yeah,
that we're mysterious enough to get some popcorn and see us on the next video.
maybe.
Or maybe
Okay.
they just think we're full of crap. Who
Listen,
knows? I don't know.
listen. Here's what I'm going to promise you right now to anybody watching this. I will promise you two things about this podcast. It will not be boring and it will not be vanilla. I promise you that. Okay. So we're taking it easy on you on the first video because we're just kind of,
I don't want to
getting
scare you.
into things. We don't want to totally freak you out, but I'm telling you, it will not be like any other podcast. And we are definitely going to push, we're going to push some boundaries. Okay. We're going to push
The,
the,
I think one of the things that we thought about way early in this process was when we started really seeing some big changes in our life on different fronts. We were looking at each other going, do you ever think we're going to get to the point where this is just blasé? This is like, oh, well, whatever. And I mean, it was intriguing and exciting and crazy in the beginning. And we thought, I hope we can keep this feeling as we do, if we continue to do this, and here we are 20 years later, and we're still pinching ourselves and still very, what's the word? Grateful
and
that we get to
honey,
do what we do, and that we have the privilege, I guess, to
yeah,
be involved in things at the level we're at. And so again, we felt like this was just something that we wanted to share and hopefully inspire others. And so if you stick around, what I'd like you to do is challenge you to, in the comments below this video, uh, tell us what you dreamed of as a kid that you wanted to be, and then and of course do the exercise, and then let's go from there.
absolutely. Absolutely. So that being said, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We are going to be putting up our videos here. Our website, or a website that we're putting up along the lines is also coming soon, but we're working on that. We will also eventually put this on, I'm not sure, Spotify, whatever other audio platform, and we'll post that so you guys can subscribe to that. But subscribe here to the YouTube channel where you're seeing this, and come on the journey. Promise you, it will definitely not be boring, and it just might change your life. In fact, we can pretty much guarantee it will. All right.
Yeah.
So, on our next episode, we are going to go over the second. We went over the My Perfect Life, right? That exercise, which you should definitely do and share with us in the comments if you're willing. Your results there, as Kevin said. But we're going to delve into then the second piece of how we started our creating our journey and putting all of these things together for ourselves. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to aim to not only share our story with you so that you can maybe learn good and some things not to do from some of our mistakes, because we're going to share those too. We're not just going to share all the good stuff. We're going to share some of the shit we did that we're like, okay, wish we hadn't done that. That might
Well,
save you.
let me put this out there as another little hint. We make our living teaching other people not to make the mistakes we've made. So there's that.
There's that. Yeah. And yeah. So anyway, we'll, oh, I know what I was going to say. So when we were talking before, you pointed out, Kevin, well, 20 years ago, in October, we met Jody, changed our life, and our journey started. We don't want it to take you 20 years. Okay,
Right.
everybody.
Yeah. It didn't
Here's
take
what.
us 20 years.
No, well,
We're just 20
right.
years from there.
Oh, no. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just didn't want them to think it didn't take us 20 years.
Yeah.
But the reason it didn't take us 20 years was because we had people giving us the blueprint. we right in front of us, right? And this is not, we're not pitching you anything here. By the way, I want to step back. We're not pitching you anything here. We're giving you the blueprint. This is not, oh, we're just trying to create this audience and then we're gonna, ask you for money. Look, we have several businesses. If you want to spend money with us, let us know. We'll happily take your money. But that's not what we're here for, okay? Right
Right.
now, we just want to give you the things that
Help you.
yeah, absolutely, and change our
Help you
life.
get where you want to go.
That's right. That's right. So stay tuned. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ultimate Lifestyle Business by Design, because you aren't going to want to miss the next episode of My Life, My Rules, where we're going to take you through another very powerful tool that we use today to create our perfect life. And maybe, just maybe, it will help you do the same. All right. Well, thanks so much again for joining us. Love you, honey. See you soon in the air conditioning.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. It's hot.